Hello everyone, my name is Christian Eschbach, and welcome to another one of my album reviews. And it is CanCon time, that's right, Canadian content time, my mandatory 10% album reviews must go to Canadian bands, which means 1 in 10 I do. Now, I am thrilled to actually have a little fun with this CanCon, because this one is, I'm getting to cover a brand new album from a band I absolutely have loved and cherished for close to 20 years now, maybe 20 years now. Canadian band, and they're a new band. Well, they were a new band when I first discovered them 20 years ago. I guess you can't call them a new band anymore. We're all getting old. Ooh. Anyways, I have covered them once before. I'm going to cover them again now, and I'm happy to cover them. I'm happy to be able to cover this brand new album as fast as I am able to get it. If I go with my current release schedule, I'm actually recording this almost a week before you're going to even see it, so you're getting it even a week longer than that, but I like to follow my patterns. Anyways, so cool part is you are getting a brand new review with this one. But it's a triple shot of new reviews, because I'm going to do 3 brand new 2021 albums. I believe all 3 are from 2021. Might be 2020 on one of them. I'm not 100% sure. But anyways, let's get into this. I'm going to start with the Canadian band I'm holding the net backwards. I'm showing you the back. This is Death from Above, 1979. The album is for Lovers. Yeah, I should have just read it off the back. Alright, Death from Above. I love that, you know, they always do a cool kind of picture. I was surprised to see that they don't have their trademark band icon front and center, or even hidden anywhere. Not that I saw. I mean, it might be hidden somewhere in the background. I haven't found it yet. But I was kind of a little surprised it wasn't here on the front. Cool album. When I first picked it up, I've been listening to it a lot, because it's been on my rotation going to or from work, and if I'm out riding around on my scooter playing Pokemon Go or something like that, I will listen to this as well. Great scooter music. I love riding my bird scooter with this music. And that's how I've been listening to it a lot. And this time of year, it's the sun's out, everything's nice. It's great. It makes you feel really good. So let's get into this, because I've really rambled here at the beginning, and at this point you guys are like, what the fuck, man? So, Death from Above, 1979, is for Lovers. Opens with Modern Guy. Now, that's how I discovered this. Modern Guy is the first video they released. I saw they released the video here on YouTube and went, yes, I subscribe, I see that. I got instant information. Huh? Get an idea? Hit the subscribe button. Alright. So, I found out this album came out. That Friday, I was down in my local record store. Walked in and said, hey, you guys have the new album. They're like, hey, we have the new album. I'm like, hey, I'm going to buy the new album. They're like, hey, buy the new album. No, that's not actually how that went. But in that record store, it could have gone that way, because me and the guys have a good rapport with each other. However, with masks, it's sometimes hard to tell who's who behind the mask. Anyways, album opens up with Modern Guy. Modern Guy is a great way to open up this album. I personally think it has a great groove. There's a great sound to it. I really dig it. I really like it. I don't like listening to it through televisions. I don't like listening through earbuds. I like listening to it through a stereo or quality speakers, something that can actually create both the high and the low end frequencies, because if you're not aware of this, when you listen to music on YouTube, or it doesn't matter what it is, YouTube is the most great example, since this is what this is on. If you listen to it on like your home TV without using a sound bar, okay, like just through the home TV speakers, through your phone, through most earbuds. I know there's a few out there that have some really nice technology in them. you don't get the proper low and highs that you do through some quality, you know, ear covering speakers or, you know, some nice home speakers. So Modern Guy on the TV, when I first listened to it, I was kind of like, alright. And when I actually got the album home, threw the album on and started listening to the album, especially through my headphones, I really like it through my nice quality headphones. Through the stereo system, it's pretty nice too, but the headphones is really nice. I really like the headphones. But Modern Guy, great tune. Great groove to it, great energy, really pumping energy, gets the album going. Then you get into 1+1, and I like 1+1. 1+1, now I'm really bad with the lyrics, especially quoting them back and not having memorized stuff like that. I always love the poetry of Death from Above. I do. I've always loved the poetry of Death from Above. And 1+1 definitely was a poetry piece turned into a song. You can totally tell. It has that total vibe, that feel to it. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But that is totally the vibe it has to it. And I really dig it. And it honestly reminds me of, like, when I did this one, I was really thinking, you know, I might actually go take the time to transcribe the lyrics, and I might go do it at a poetry night just to see the reaction it gets. Because it is the type of piece I've heard people do at a poetry night. I really dig it that way. I know that would turn a lot of people off, but I'm not talking the shit stuff, like, you know, where people are talking about, you know, their dog or their kitty or, you know, whatever weird stuff they want to talk about. I'm talking about the people that do some really cool, you dig it poetry, you know? Then we go into Free Animal. I like Free Animal. Free Animal's got a really sexy groove to it. Totally sexy groove. One thing this band does is sexy grooves. And they do sexy grooves well. It's probably because, you know, it's all rhythm section with the bass and the drums for the most part. There's obviously electronics with pianos and stuff like that in there too. But then you get to NYC Power Elite Part 1. And once again, music's pretty cool, but I actually like more of the poetic, artistic side of the song. Like, to help accentuate the snooty, the elitist. They use some great catch lines in here in the song, like, where he actually speaks of it. I have not carried money since 9/11. Now, he puts a little more singing to it with his voice than I'm doing. Just a tad. And then there's another one in there. I have not eaten cake since the last election. And those lines just accent the song so perfectly where they're put in that it just really gives it a great feel. And that goes into NYC Power Elite Part 2. Now, Pink Floyd is one of the few bands that can really pull off Part 1, Part 2, or more than that, and even they don't always get it right. This one works. They get it right. Because the second one, it does continue sort of in the thematic approach. Music totally shifts. Totally shifts. Whoa, total 180 in music. Love the two pieces together. Thing is fantastic. And realistically, you don't even have to play them together on their own. They are both solid individual parts. And this is not like, we're not talking like another Brick in the Wall Part 1, 2, and 3. We're not talking, you know, like Shine On You Crazy Diamond, where, you know, they've got like 6 parts at the front and then, you know, 7 more parts at the back, or 7 more parts at the back, 6 more parts at the back, whatever it is, I can't remember. You know, I'm not talking stuff like that. I'm talking, actually, the best variation to actually explain this on the differences between the two that I can think of off the top of my head is actually Pantera, Suicide Note Part 1 and Part 2. Except for, I believe it would be flipped, because if I remember correctly, I believe Part 1 was the cool, mellow one with Pantera, and Part 2 was the harsh and crazy one. Speaking of harsh and crazy, that goes into Totally Wiped Out. This is the only song on the album I'm really not a fan of. It is kind of like them just doing one of their traditional, I don't want to say punk, but it's definitely kind of punk-esque in its presentation. Very just kind of, you know. Glass Homes is the last song on the album I really, really like. There's one other one I don't mind, but this is the last one I really, really dig. After this, I just kind of tune out a little bit with the album. But Glass Homes, once again, great music, but I dig the lyrics as well on this one quite a bit. And I really like, there's, like, the way they use the line, don't throw rocks through glass homes or something like that. You know, that kind of analogy But the way they present the line when they say it in the song, it's like what I was talking about earlier with New York Power Elites Part 1. It really just kind of, there's an accentuation with the way they do it. It's just, I think it's quite smart and quite brilliant. I really dig it. I really get into it. Then you get into Love Letter. I don't know what it is about Love Letter that I don't like. I just, like, to be clear, Totally Wiped Out is the only one that I'm really not into. The rest of them I don't mind listening to. Love Letter, it's not a bad song, but I guess for Death from Above, it would be considered stock. I mean, Death from Above, to say that they have a stock song, like, Totally Wiped Out would fall under them with stock as well. But Totally Wiped Out is their, like, kind of stock punk, straightforward kind of stuff. Love Letter would be kind of more of their cliche, I don't want to say cookie cutter, because they don't really have it's not part of a formula. It doesn't feel like it's part of a formula. There's just something about it. It just has a cliche Death from Above element to it. Something that doesn't really overly call to me. Yeah. And that takes us to Mean Streets. And I feel honestly the exact same way about Mean Streets. I do dig Mean Streets. And I mean, Love Letter has some kind of fine points to it that are enjoyable. But not much. And Mean Streets is the same thing. Like, there are some really kind of cool points to it, but nothing that really stands out. Nothing that really kind of pops. It's just like, yeah, alright. And then we get to the end of the album. And the end of the album finishes with No War. And I like No War. No War, I don't think it's as good as the rest of, you know, like when you get into the earlier half out of the album, I don't think it's as good as that. But I like the artistic play on it. And to say artistic play with Death from Above, I mean, it does feel a little bit different. I feel it's a strong end. They could have done a stronger end on here. I'm actually, to be honest with you, I really don't think I would have done these songs in a different arrangement. I think the way they did it is the arrangement it should have been. I don't think they could have mixed this better to make it any more enjoyable. I actually think the way that they mixed it, the way that they put the songs in the album and everything, I think it is honestly the most enjoyable way you're going to really appreciate the album. To give you an example, if you go on their website as well, or on their YouTube, you'll see Modern Guy has 2 videos. There's one that's the real video, and then there's one that's like a remix, tripped out kind of video. That one sucks. I hate the remixing. They released an entire remix album of their first album, and it was done in hopes that it would draw more attention. I've contemplated picking up that remix album multiple times, and I never have, because I just really, I haven't heard anything off of it that made me go, okay, I want to go hear this remix. I gotta go get this remix. It's never happened. It's very rare where someone will release what they call this new cool remix version, and I'll like it better than the original version I've heard that they've released on the album. You know, once in a while it might happen, but very rare. So, I'm not huge on remixing, so I always assume with Death from Above, whatever mix we get on here, that's going to be the best mix we're going to get. No War finishes the album off solid. The whole album itself is great. This album feels a little more electronic than previous other albums. Maybe a little more possible drum machine in there even. I'm not 100% sure. Oh, I just opened this up for the first time. That's a pretty cool inlay. I like that. I dig that. Lyrics are on the back. That's cool. These guys are also, want to mention, one of the major reasons I always do Canadian bands as every 10 albums. You know, the 10th album, my 10%. And it's because of this. If we didn't have our Canadian content law here in Canada, which I think is actually 30%, but the way that 30% can be broken up makes a difference. Now, when we still had a music video channel that played music videos until they really sucked it up for themselves and screwed it over, they had to play a lot of Canadian content. But for years, that sucked. And then all of a sudden, a great wave of musicians actually came out. You know, like, within 3 years, we got... Now, your opinions on the various bands I say can be your own opinions, because some of them everybody hates, some of them, you know, you're going to mock, whatever. But when you think about, okay, you got Death from Above, Sum 41, Avril Lavigne, Nickelback, State of Shock, I can't think of the other one there that Nickelback helped bring out. Theory of a Dead Man. Crud. I know there was at least one or two other ones that... Oh, Billy Talent. How could I forget Billy Talent? You know, Billy Talent. I mentioned Sum 41? I think I did. Had all these guys coming out in that time period. So, it actually still made it enjoyable. And they really helped, because otherwise we would have been getting flooded with a lot of American garbage. So I will always push this. I would also like to point out that I do miss having the Canadian music channel, because, you know, we'd get a lot of Europe. That's how I really, honestly, really discovered Rammstein as well. Was, you know, much music playing the video, you know, at least during Much Loud, stuff like that. Much Loud, man. George Snobbalopolis. Snobbalopagus. Topalibilis. I'm sorry. George Stromanopoulos. Oh, now I'm trying to say it. I'm totally screwing it up because I'm trying to say it. Oh, man. Sorry, George. I am so sorry, man. Oh, I feel like an asshole on that one now. My apologies, my friend. Much love and respect to you. You have definitely helped influence a lot of my musical choices over the years because of it. Anyways, Death from Above 79 is For Lovers. I think is an album that if you are a fan of the band, you definitely need to go pick up. If you're not a fan of the band, it might be a cool way to discover the band. If you've never listened to anything before, this could be a cool spot to start. I'm not sure if it's their best album. It's definitely not their worst. And I like the fact that they finally released enough albums where I can actually start having these opinions. Oh, one other thing I really love about this album, and I really love about this band in general, is they don't overdo it with the albums. Song times vary, okay? Let's be clear. Song times vary, and I have a feeling that for vinyl purposes, I'd have to go back and double check, but NYC Power Elite Part 1 and 2 might be where the album could possibly diverge from side A to side B, maybe. It just, maybe. I'd have to see the vinyl. Anyways, great album. Leave me your comments. Let me know what you think, guys. Otherwise, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Peace, love, and take care.